friends, it's Steph with Stefsonabudget. Welcome back for another video. Today we are going to be going through our May debt update. So we didn't have one for April, so we're kind of going to be looking at the numbers from the, not really, but just know there'll be a jump in the numbers for actually 2 months, you guys. I hope that makes sense. But realistically, when we go through the numbers, that's just what we paid for May. So hopefully it makes sense as we get in there. But nonetheless, we're going to see how May went and what we're going to be starting with as far as debt goes in the month of June. So let's go ahead and jump on in. What you're looking at is I use a Big Happy Planner, and then I use the Budget Moms digital printer or printable planner. And so I punch it and put it into a happy planner. So this debt payment plan and net worth tracker you're looking at comes from the Budget Moms budget workbook. And so we are going to go ahead and get started. I grabbed the wrong marker, so let me get the right one. Okay, now we are set. So we're going to start on this page here, and this is a look at what our current debts are, what it started in May. So the first one, our debt snowball that we were working on was our Discover card. So we started paying this one off kind of the beginning of January. We started at $7,114, you guys. May, we started with a balance of $1,675. This card was sitting at 0% interest. It was a balance transfer. Our minimum payment, I don't even remember what it was at, you guys, because, as you pay down your cards, your minimum payment changes. But nonetheless, we actually paid this off by May 18th. May 18th was the date, so our goal was end of June. So we were about a month and a half early on this one, friends. I am so excited. So we're gonna go ahead and say paid off for that one. Now, this sheet normally says order right here. I always just block that off and write payments, and I track how much I paid towards the month on that card. So that's going to be a little bit different if you are using the Budget Mom workbook as well. Okay, our next debt is our City Number 2 card. This was also a balance transfer that we started with. I can't remember. This is going to be a big difference, you guys. And initially I was really kind of upset and stressed, and I was bummed. I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to share with my subscribers that we increased debt again. This is, it's June now, so 6 months in, we've increased our debt twice already, which really sucks. We're trying everything to not do that. And then I had to calm down and tell myself, this is not spending. This is not frivolous spending. We had to increase our debt in January to purchase a new double wall oven. It was just a household kind of emergency. Not really an emergency, but an unexpected expenditure. We can't help that the oven went out, and we have to have an oven to cook. So we have, added debt there. And now you're going to see this City 2 card jump up in, it actually went up in April. So you're seeing it here for the first time in May. And this was our income taxes, you guys. We owed quite a bit on our taxes this year, and instead of trying to set up a payment plan with penalties and daily interest and daily penalties, we just said, let's go ahead and put it off on this card at 16%, which is better than what we would be paying to the IRS. So again, it's not frivolous spending. Does it still suck to add debt? You freaking bet. I'm totally bummed, but it just is what it is. And we definitely need to go in and make adjustments to our withholdings so that next year we don't have kind of the same issue. So I don't know if you guys, sorry for the chattiness, but I don't know if you guys have recently updated a W-2. I think it's been a couple years now, so it's been a while, but it's a new form, and it is, I've only done it once when I started, I don't even remember. I think I needed to change my withholdings when we owed taxes a while back, and I literally, I watched so many YouTube videos, oh, talk about boring and dry, you guys, on trying to figure out how to actually fill out this new like withholdings form. And clearly we need to make another adjustment there. So, you know, it's a work in progress. So I'm totally bummed out. The amount was at like $3,700. So we had about $3,200 that we owed in taxes, which is a lot, you guys. And so we just paid it with this card. So that's what this is. And we're just gonna have to, you know, bust butt to get it paid off. You know, we'll get it paid down. So our minimum payment was $115. It's now $131 on this card. But for the month of May, we did make that $115 payment before that amount posted and changed the amount of the minimum payment for June. Let's see. Next debt we have is that oven debt I talked about that we added in the beginning of the year in January. So we started May with a balance. Oh, I'm so sorry. The city balance is $6,816.78. Half of that is at 0% for the promotion, and then the rest is at that 16% that we just added as new spending. Our ovens started May at $2,735.96. This is now our current debt snowball now that Discover is paid off. It sits at 0% interest until I think February 2nd of 2025. So we've got about 7 months to get this paid off. I have no doubt that we'll do it. My goal is September, though projectively, as long as, you know, knock on wood, the budget goes as it should, I'm hoping August. We shall see. The minimum payment is $122 and some change, you guys. I've just been paying $125 a month towards it, so that's what we're going on. But halfway through May, we started this as our debt snowball. So we were able to pay the $125 plus an extra $60. So we actually paid $185 to this account in May. Next up, we have my student loans. This is the last of them. It started, now this number was really funky. I had to like go back and really like look at this because interest, the way interest accumulates on student loans is different. It's like daily interest, right, you guys? So for May, my starting balance was $6,194.10. I have a total of 4 student loans that range from 3% to 6%. Only one of them sits at a 6%, and anything I pay above the minimum payment, which is $94 and some change, so I just round up to 95, but in actuality, I pay $100 a month to student loans, so just a few dollars extra. It's not like earth moving or anything, but those extra dollars are set to go to my highest interest student loan right now, so we threw a little bit extra there. When I got in there, like I said, the numbers on this was really weird. So I made a payment for May, like really early in April because of how the paychecks fell. So I think I got paid like April 15th or 18th or something like that. And then I didn't get paid again until like May 3rd, which is after when this payment was due. So it paid early, so it accumulated a little bit more interest than it normally would, and somehow this went up, you guys. I truly don't know what happened here. I think it has to do with my March paychecks because when let me try to flip through this, you guys. When I pay, like when I set up my monthly pay periods, it's not like January 1 through January 31. I can't budget that way because I don't get paid monthly. So if we look at March, my March budget included all the way from February 23rd through March 22nd's paycheck, which actually runs through April 4th. And then April's paychecks were the 5th and the 19th, and then May's were the 3rd and the 17th. So like May technically like didn't have a payment to student loans because it was done in April, and then the next one was paid with May 31st for June's payment. So hopefully that makes sense. I know that's kind of confusing. It's just, in my mind, it works really well for me because if I try to budget from the first to the end of the month, it doesn't work because I don't get paid that way. And you guys have heard me say that tons of times. So I think I actually didn't make a payment in May then, looking at that. So I'm gonna put a 0 because this actually went up, not by a lot, but it's like the $30 interest for the entire month, which makes sense. Okay, in my head, that makes so much sense now. I could not figure this out looking at it the other day, but talking through it with you guys, okay, light bulb, yay. So even though we're not logging this, you guys, please know we made the payment. We just made it in technically April's budget. I know that's confusing, but it is what it is. Okay, that takes care of our cards, consumer debt type stuff. But we do have 2 vehicles that we're still paying off. And so we also paid our Tacoma. I'm going to just round this up for the sake of not having change, you guys, but it, just know it's like 1,012 and some change. Same with our car, it's like 458 and some change. So we made the minimum payments on both of those. I don't include my mortgage on this anymore, though we do have mortgage debt. Let me grab a calculator, friends. Okay, let's add up what we paid in debt payments total, for the month of May. So we paid off the $1,675 for Discover. Oh my gosh, I cannot get it together. The $115, the $185, $1013, and $459. So we made in debt payments $3,447, not including, like I said, our mortgage. Okay, so to finish the bottom half of the worksheet, we then need to see what our June starting balances are. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to just shift the book a bit and I'm going to list out what our debts are now. So let's go ahead and start with the oven, since that's going to be our new. I'll go ahead and list them out and then we'll come back together and look at what the new balances are, friends. Okay, here we are. You guys, our list is getting shorter. Let me flip you back to, let me see if I can find it. Oh, it's not in this workbook. So this is starting my full second, January was my 1-year anniversary on YouTube, and I was going back the other day and looking at some of my old videos, and when you see my old list of debts that we've paid off since we've started this channel together, friends, this is like nothing, even though we still have high amounts of debt because of our vehicles, right? But don't, look back from time to time, you guys. You'll be surprised at how far you've actually come. And so it kind of remotivated me. Like I said, I was really down about outing the debt and having to come and tell you guys that we added to debt again. But just so kind of looking back just reassured me, like, what we're doing is working. Just keep plugging along. Don't get hung up on this. Don't get discouraged. Don't let it derail anything. Just keep going. So that's what we're going to do, friends. We're just going to keep going. Okay. Our new oven debt balance is starting for June, $2,550.96. This debt started in January, you guys, at just a little over $3,500, if I'm remembering correctly. So that's great. Our new balance for our city 2 is $6,764.86. The balance for the student loan, now this is where it gets weird. It goes up, and that's because the payment wasn't really in May, and we're accumulating about $33 in interest, which is, I would say, based on when I make my payment, my interest monthly is anywhere from like $27 to $35, depending on when I make the payment, you guys. So our new balance for our Tacoma came down to the next 1,000, you guys, which is always exciting. It's at $54,781.63. And our Subaru is at $24,344.89. So that is our new numbers. I'm going to shift you guys back. And let me just make sure you're in frame. I think we look pretty good there. Now, to get our current month debt balance, we're going to add these numbers up together. So let's do that. All right, guys, our new monthly number. So starting in June, we're now at $94,658.56. We started May at $97,581. So if we subtract that from the 97581, that means we paid off $2,922.44 in the month of May. So a pretty good month, you guys. I'm gonna take it as a win, even though we had a little bit of a backslide. So then we're gonna bring over the new number of $94,658.56. And our total debt we started with at the beginning of last year was $122,819. So let's see how much we've paid off since we've started this channel together. Oops. I had to do a double take, you guys. Wow. So since January of 2023, we have been able to pay off $28,160.46. I just want to show you guys when I talk about, even when you have backslides, don't get discouraged. Just kind of look back and truly see like where you came, so you can really see like your progress. So I'm gonna just flip to January. Okay, so January of 2024, we were at $103,551.82. Okay, that's our starting number for this year. Oop. And now for June, we are at, so in 6 months, we're at $94,658.56, which means we've paid off almost $9,000 alone this year. But it's actually more than that because we have added about $3,500 for the ovens, like I said, and we added about $3,200. So if you add that into this, we still have this difference of $9,000. It actually means we've paid off almost $15,000, you guys, because if we go back to January and we take the $103,000 and add the $35 and the $3,200, you know, it's going to be that much higher, and we're still down to 94. So realistically, we're doing good, even though the numbers might not always show that. I hope that makes sense. I hope I'm not just like talking way too much. You guys know I can do that from time to time, but still, no matter what, the number reflects almost $9,000 gone this year. And, you know, what we're doing is working. We just got to keep plugging along. We've got to make a few financial changes as far as like withholdings and stuff like that. But I hope that the second half of the year goes, you know, just as well, and we can, you know, not have any issues where we're adding any more debt. Ideally, looking at the second half of the year, where would I like to be when we finish up for December? Definitely, I want the oven loans gone. My goal was to pay off Discover and student loans this year. That was my goal. And then we had a few other things that kind of came up sooner, like the oven. We don't want to get stuck with that lump sum of interest, so that's got to go before that timeline runs out. And then we will see if we're going to shift to the student loan after the ovens or the City 2 card. I'm not too sure yet, you guys. I don't always have like a whole plan mapped out. Sometimes I pay off a debt because there's just an emotional attachment to it. Like sometimes a particular debt just irritates the heck out of me and I want it gone, and I'll rearrange things to get rid of that debt. So it's not always black and white, snowball avalanche. You guys just do what works for you. You know, it might not be the traditional recommendations, but realistically, if we're, you know, staying on track and paying off debt, who cares, right? So for now, we are working on the oven debt, you guys. So stay tuned for some updates to see how we're doing. September's the goal. August is the stretch goal. I'm really hoping we can do it in August. But if not, realistically, if I look at the budget, September should be the timeline. So to reach August, that means we're going to have to find ways in the budget to make cuts, have more rollover in our spending categories, you know, things like that. That's the stretch where we pinch it a little bit tighter. So I always recommend having those two goals. Realistically, budget-wise, what's the timeline? And then what's maybe the stretch goal that if you know, pinched a little harder, saved a little bit more, had a little less spending money from time to time, what could you potentially make work? So that's how I like to look at my debts. So we shall see how we do. Fingers crossed we stay on track, you guys. But I will quit talking. Thank you for joining me for another video. It was good to do a debt update with you guys, even as uncomfortable as it was. I hope that you liked this one. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button to stick around, and we'll see you in the next one, friends. Bye.